Hey plant fam! Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Jaclynn. This is my jungle, and if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate you for being here. So, today, I wanted to do a video that I normally do, honestly, every year, but for whatever reason, at the beginning of this year, I just didn't do it. And I forgot to do it. And I was going through my videos and I was like, girl, you didn't do it. So today I want to talk to you about all of the plants that I have noticed that used to be super rare that are now very, very common and easy to find. So I like to do these videos just to let you guys know not to spend a crazy amount of money on any of these plants. Plus it's honestly just kind of fun to go through and talk about and reminisce with each other over how expensive these plants used to be. So none of these should be really super surprising, but maybe you just weren't aware that some of these were being mass produced now and that it's probably not a great idea for you to spend a ton of money on them. And I wouldn't be surprised if you started seeing even more of these popping up in the big box store, because a few of them on the list have already popped up in the big box store for some people, or honestly even in grocery stores. So with that said, the first one on my list should not be surprising because it is one that I feel like everybody wanted and everybody went crazy for, and now that you can literally find them at your grocery store or at a Walmart, they're just another plant, just another common plant that I feel like everyone is going to end up having in their collection eventually. So of course that is the Monstera Thai constellation, and I wanted to take this opportunity to show you one of mine who just put out this new leaf that is absolutely stunning. So this is my favorite Thai con in my collection. She did get a little crispy in the move. This is from inconsistent watering. You definitely don't want to do that. And this leaf though, like, hello, you're beautiful. So if you can find one in the store, in the big box store, in a grocery store with really nice variegation, definitely snag it. But if you find one and it's a good price and it doesn't have great variegation, like, just wait, because you're gonna find more. There's tons of them out there. Just be patient and make sure you're really getting the one that you love. So her roots are going crazy in here. I just up potted her, honestly, not that long ago, but I'll probably up pot her again fairly soon before the season is over, before winter hits, so that I can get her up on a moss pole. I can't really fit a moss pole in this tiny little pot, so we'll have to up pot her. But Monstera Thai con is definitely, I think, the first one that comes to mind if you think about plants that used to be very expensive, which is what I mean by rare. Just started with that. Let me clarify for those of you who are new here. When I say rare, I don't literally mean rarity. I mean that it's just used to be harder to find, or it was very expensive. Usually things are expensive because they're harder to find. They're not actually rare. The word rare in the sense that I use it and most people using it just means rare in the market, not super common, hard to come by. But now that people are tissue culturing like everything, it's only a matter of time before expensive plants become inexpensive plants, and it's only a matter of time before rare plants eventually become common. There's only a few factors that can keep a plant from becoming super common, and that is if they're difficult to tissue culture, difficult to grow, difficult to propagate, maybe their variegation doesn't transfer in tissue culture. Things along those lines will make it more expensive because it's just the basic concept of supply and demand. If people want the plant and there's not a lot of them, they're going to be willing to pay more money for it. So there's a lot of these, like a lot of them. So don't pay a lot of money for one of these. Okay, so number 2 on my list is one of my favorite philodendrons that I have, and I chopped mine up, so I don't really even have much to show you, but I will show you a picture on the screen of the Philodendron UPI. Some people like to say Joepi, but the J is actually pronounced more like a Y, so it's UPI, but you do you, boo-boo. I don't care what you call it. But I put this one on my list because For like 5 minutes there, it felt like everyone was going nuts for this plant. Like everybody had to have it. And now I can't even sell cuttings for like super cheap. Nobody wants them. So I'd say that this is definitely a plant that you're not going to find in a big box store right now. I wouldn't be surprised if like Proven Winners came out with like big ones. They've been doing the Florida Green and like lots of other huge philodendrons. So I honestly wouldn't even be that surprised if they did. But it is still one that is reasonably easy to find. I'm sure that it's one that's going to be in the nurseries fairly soon. It is a pretty unique looking leaf shape that is sought after by philodendron collectors for sure, myself included. That's why I love this one. I paid a lot of money for mine when I first got it, like a lot more than what you'll pay for it now. So I definitely think that this plant is well on its way to being considered common, and it's only a matter of time before you're seeing them pop up left and right. Philodendron UVI is number 2 on my list today. And then number 3 is kind of similar to what I just mentioned. We see the Florida Green in the big box store. I feel like it's only a matter of time before Costa Farms comes out with their Florida Beauty trending tropicals. So don't quote me. I genuinely don't know what they're growing or what they're working on. You can look on their website and it will tell you like what they're going to be releasing, and sometimes they just only sell certain ones on their website, and very rarely will you find them in store. But for me, this is a really easy growing philodendron, and it has absolutely stunning variegation. So it's super easy to propagate too, so I don't know why it wouldn't become a really popular plant, and I genuinely can envision like 3 years in the future just walking into the big box store and seeing Florida Beauties everywhere, because they're super stunning. They're always highly sought after by anybody who looks at it and likes plants. Is going to be like, that's beautiful. I feel like it's a really great plant to attract the average person who's not necessarily a collector. So think of like the average person who's just walking through the garden center and looking for something pretty. They don't really know too much about plants. They have a handful of common stuff at home. That is the average person. Not everybody is as intense as we are and feels the need to collect obsessively the way that we do. Most people who have houseplants just have a few, and they don't know too much about them or what they're called or things like that. So I do think that the Florida Beauty is something that can appeal to that person, and that's why I think it would be worthwhile for companies like Costa Farms and Live Trends and Proven Winners to push them out there, because I do think that they would sell really, really well, and they are very easy to grow and propagate. So I predict that we're going to be seeing Florida Beauties in the big box store within the next few years for sure. You heard it from me. If you see them in the store 2 years from now, you better be like, Jaclynn was right. I'm just kidding. So that is why I put it at number 3 on my list today, because I imported mine and she like took off. She didn't even act like an imported plant at all. So number 4 on my list is one that I think people have found in the big box store. It's just, I haven't seen them, and I can't remember if I'm remembering that properly, but I did put the Philodendron tortum on my list here today, and I didn't bring mine over to show you, so I gotta go grab it. So I do have more than one of these because I love it so much. And they used to be, this was $100 plant when I got it, this plant right here. But now you can snag them for super cheap, and I definitely think that, yeah, we have seen the tortums in the big box store. I think it was Proven Winners though. They had like the big woven baskets of tortum. I haven't seen them since then, but I know that some of you were able to snag some, and we did see them, the ones that weren't drowning to death. That's right, I just remembered that we did see them in the big box store. So I do think that this is a safe one to put on the list for philodendron that are now super common and easy to find. It's a really easygoing, easy growing philodendron. Again, like I said earlier, that is a factor in how the market value, where it will land on a plant. So if the plant is really quick to grow and really easy to root, the market on that plant, the price on that plant is going to land a lot lower than a plant that takes a longer time to grow and root. I mean, look at the variegated Monstera Peru. Even though the prices have come down on a plant like that, it still is a pretty pricey plant if you want to get a large one, because it is so slow growing and they are notoriously a pain in the butt to root. So Philodendron tortum is definitely one that I feel like you're going to see, if you haven't already, in your nurseries, in your big box stores, in your grocery stores. And let me know in the comments below if you were able to snag a tortum in one of the big box stores. I think it's pretty cool that we can get these now, because this used to be such a dream plant for me for years. I remember the first time I saw a photo of this plant like years ago, before people really even knew about it, and then it got really hyped for a little while, and that also added to the high price tag, because again, when something is low supply and high demand, people are just willing to pay more money for it. So people were definitely willing to spend a few $100s on a good size tortum back in the day, but now you can go and get one for like 20 or 30 bucks. I just saw baby ones at the store yesterday. So Philodendron tortum had to go on my list for plants that used to be super rare and hard to find and are now basically in the grocery store. Number 5 on my list was literally in the grocery stores, and I never personally saw them, but a lot of people have, and I have seen them all over the nurseries, all over the local shops, and that is the Philodendron Ring of Fire. I don't personally have one. I don't really like it that much. I have the Golden Croc, which is the like Hoya version. It's just like neon green. The Jungle Boogie is the regular green version. They're all the same plant. I just really like the Hoya one the best for whatever reason. It just like scratches that itch in my brain that I really look for in like a plant. Well, if you get it, you get it. You know what I mean. So the Ring of Fire is like definitely one that used to be highly, highly sought after and very expensive. And now it's just like whatever. You see it and you're just like, cool. I know a lot of people did snag it from grocery stores and box stores, but a lot of them just like melted away and did not do well. They were probably tissue cultured and just like not really well rooted. So definitely be careful, obviously, when you're shopping in the big box stores. You want to make sure that you're checking for healthy roots, checking for pests, things along those lines. Check for new growth. New growth is always a good sign of a nice healthy plant. And, you know, just know that even though they're cheaper and they're in the big box store, doesn't always necessarily mean that it's better. Ring of Fire is definitely one that I feel like you can confidently find in the store if you have a store near you. I know it's different in all different areas of the country and of the world, but for us here in the States, for the most part, people have been finding these all over the place, myself included. So I do not feel comfortable referring to the Ring of Fire as a rare plant anymore, because they're everywhere. Number six. What was that? And number 6, you guys, number 6 is new, is the Philodendron gloriosum. And this is definitely one that people used to spend a lot of money on that we recently just found from Live Trends. They are releasing Philodendron gloriosum. In case you missed my shopping videos or you just don't watch shopping videos, they're not your thing, that's totally fine. I have been finding the gloriosum, so if you need a gloriosum, they have them at Lowe's, Home Depot. You've probably got better luck at Lowe's from all of the information that I've gathered from my personal experience and from asking you guys. You guys usually have better luck at Lowe's like me. And yeah, gloriosum. As much as I hate this plant, it's a beautiful plant. I just don't like the way it grows. Personally, it is a crawler. I have a couple of crawlers, but the gloriosum is kind of just, she's just needy. She needs a lot of water, humidity, all that stuff that I just don't care. I don't like her enough to give her all of that time and attention. But if you do, you should definitely snag her because they're literally gorgeous and they're at the big box store. Like literally, I walked in and I was like, wait, what? Is that a gloriosum? The veining is so pretty on these plants. So, I mean, they've definitely been on their way. Like, their prices have come way down on all of these things. But once they finally get to the big box store, then that's it. It's all over. The price is just never going to be the same from there on out. And you're just going to start seeing them more and more. So, Philodendron gloriosum is on my list today because it's literally at Lowe's. Number 7 is one that I have recently snagged, but of course I left it in the other room and I just really don't want to go get it. It's so hot in here, you guys, because I have to turn off all the AC and the fans and everything so that it's not loud. So I just don't want to go get it, but it is the Miranda silver bands. I'll put in a picture or a video for you guys now so you can see it, but this one used to be super hard to find, and this one definitely used to be pricey even just for cutting. And I've been finding them for about like a year now in the nurseries, and then just a few months ago they started popping up at the big box store. So if you haven't picked up on it, it's kind of a cycle. You start seeing them usually pop up in the nurseries, the growers are growing them, and then it's just like bam, before you know it, they end up in the big box store. Not always, but that's usually like the rare to common pipeline. You'll see it in the nurseries first, and then you'll see it in the big box stores eventually. So same thing with the Tycon. The nurseries had them. They were still charging quite a bit for them. And then Gossip Farms was like, no, we got them finally. It only took us 4 years. But Silver Band Miranda definitely has to go on this list just because I was really surprised to see them in the big box store, like pleasantly surprised the first time I saw them. And they're super affordable now. You're going to pay the same price for that as you will any other Miranda, and I think that's really great because it's a beautiful plant and it was previously very difficult to get your hands on. So Silver Band Miranda is number 8 on my list today of plants that used to be rare and are now super common and easy to find. Number 7. That was number 7. I lied. Number 8 is a Hoya. I had to put a Hoya on here, and I really sat down to think about it, like what Hoya used to be really hard to find, really sought after, and is now just like everywhere. Not in the big box store yet, but everywhere else. And it's got to be the Hoya Sarawak. So this is the Hoya latifolia species Sarawak, and I've seen them go for like $30 for like a huge plant. Beautiful, huge plants. So the prices definitely still vary on these, but I'm here to tell you not to spend a lot of money on a Sarawak because they're everywhere. The growers are growing them. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw them from Costa Farms. I don't really foresee them going too crazy on the Hoya. I feel like, who else does the Hoya? I think it might be, is it Live Trends that came out? Yeah, they came out with some Hoya. It might have been another company, like a Home Depot based company that I can't remember off the top of my head, that came out with some other types of Hoya that I was seeing pop up in the big box stores as well. So I don't know. There's not all that much hope for Hoya heads, to be honest with you. They're not as likely to become super common the way that you'll see like Weyetii just like chilling. Honestly, I don't even see Weyetii that much, which is a bummer. But you know, you'll see the Curtisii and the Bertonier and stuff like that from Costa Farms and the big box stores. And then the nurseries definitely have more variety if you're lucky in your nursery, even like cares to carry more than like a couple of Carnosa and Pubic Calyx. But, you know, the Hoya market is just hit or miss depending on like the interest that people have in Hoya in the area that you're in. So if you're looking for a Sarawak, definitely make sure that you're not spending a ton of money on it right now because they're all over the place. I promise you, it's going to be really easy for you to find a nice, decently sized plant. You might even find it at a plant shop or a local nursery. I've seen them countless times now pop up for really, really, really good prices when these used to be very expensive plants and very, very sought after Hoya. So Hoya Sarawak had to go on my list. I had to put at least one Hoya on the list. And when I really, like I said, sat down to think about it, I felt like for me personally, what I've noticed for the market where I am up here in the Northeast, I've definitely seen a lot of the Hoya Sarawak pop up at shops. So can't say that it's a hard to find plant anymore. Can't say that it's rare anymore if I'm seeing it in multiple locations. Okay, so the last two on my list, 9 and 10, are actually cacti. And I'm just gonna kind of lump them together. And it is the booby cactus and the spiral cactus. And these are definitely being mass produced now. They're here, their prices are going down constantly. I have no idea if we're ever going to see something like that in the big box stores. I think it would be really cool if we did, but I've been seeing them in almost every single nursery, and I feel like every time I see them, the prices get better and better and better. So if you've been wanting the booby cactus, I'll put the names on the screen because I genuinely cannot tell you. And then the spiral cactus is like, I think a myrtille cactus, but I might be wrong. I'll put it on the screen with the photos for you so you know which is which. I think you'll be able to figure out which is which, obviously, with the botanical names for each one. So yeah, don't spend a lot of money on these if you've been looking for them. Just be a little bit more patient, and I promise you, you'll probably find one in a local shop very, very soon. If you don't have local shops near you, if you only have big box stores, then you can definitely find these online for a good price. Tons of people on Palm Street are selling them, and I see them on websites like Etsy and stuff like that all the time. So they're definitely really easy to find now, and the prices have come way, way down on them. So do not overpay for one of these cacti that used to be considered rare. They're not going to be rare for very long. So please don't go spending a bunch of money on them. So that's my list, you guys. That is my top 10 rare plants that are now really common, really inexpensive, and really easy to find in one way or another. Let me know in the comments below if you agreed with this list, if you disagreed with anything on this list. Let me know what you would add to this list. Have you found any of these plants lately in your nurseries or your big box stores? I would love to know. And of course, if you watched this whole entire video, leave me your favorite green emojis. There's just like a lot of really dark velvety green going on behind me right now. So leave me your favorite green emojis in the comments below. I really appreciate it if you guys give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything from me. All of those things really, really help out the algorithm, and they help out my channel a lot, so I appreciate it. There's also a join button if you want to be part of the official plant fam. You guys know that I absolutely cannot do this without you. Cannot do this without motorcycles going by every 5 minutes either, but I love you so, so very much. I hope you're having a beautiful day wherever you are out there in the world. Don't forget to spread kindness. Don't forget to drink your water, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!